The family of Reverend Jesse Jackson is expected to give remarks following his death yesterday morning. He battled complications from a serious disease that's similar to Parkinson's. He marched with Dr. Martin Luther King, became his protege, and then took the mantle from King following his assassination in 1968. Jackson went on to lead the civil rights movement for decades. He eventually ran for president twice in the 80s, and his candidacy eventually led to the launch of his National Rainbow Coalition, known today as Rainbow Push. An organizer, disruptor, and voice for the voiceless, Reverend Jackson is viewed by many as the bridge between Martin Luther King and Barack Obama. Reverend Jackson is survived by his wife Jacqueline and his 6 children.
Joining us now is David Masciota. He is the author of a new book that takes a look at Jackson's role in American politics and justice. It's called I Am Somebody, Why Jesse Jackson Matters. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We talked about that bridge politically, and I'm wondering, from the civil rights movement to Black Lives Matter, what did Jesse Jackson think about that? What was his role in that, if any?
Well, when I talked to Reverend Jackson about the Black Lives Matter movement, he saw it as a great triumph of the civil rights movement and a social revolution that occurred in the United States. Speaking in the immediate aftermath of George Floyd's murder, he said to think that you'd have young Americans and old Americans of all races, all sexualities, all religions marching together because a white police officer killed a black man, that would have been unthinkable in the 60s. And Jackson's role in engineering that transformation was substantial and major, beginning with his work in his home state of South Carolina to desegregate the public library system, through his years with Dr. King, through his years in Chicago in the 70s, fighting against various forms of economic apartheid and exclusion in corporations and trade unions and financial institutions. And then finally, as you mentioned, in the 80s, running for president to ensure that the Democratic Party would not take black voters nor other voters, such as Latinos and Native Americans. And he was the first candidate to fully support gay rights, that they wouldn't take those voters for granted, instead that they would represent them and speak for them and fight for them.
You interviewed him over 100 times. I'm wondering if there's something, I feel like he's such a public figure. Everyone feels like they know Jesse Jackson. What's something that you learned through the course of all those interviews that we might not know?
Oh, well, I learned so much about him, about his personality. I learned that he, I said this to some of your colleagues last night. The first time I interviewed him, I felt like I was going to Mount Sinai to interview Moses. And I just expected such an intense experience, but I learned that he was a very kind, good-humored, down-to-earth man, and I never saw him behave rudely or shortly with anyone who would approach him in an airport or anywhere else. About his life, I learned how much his upbringing influenced not only his calling to try to engineer a politics of justice in this country, but also his negotiational tactics. He talked about being a young boy in the Jim Crow South. Life was a constant negotiation. Oftentimes your survival was at stake. And he brought those skills to bear not only in American politics and American business, but also internationally when he worked to free hostages and political prisoners in Iraq, Syria, Cuba, and other countries all over the world.
Well, you can pick up I Am Somebody, Why Jesse Jackson Matters on Amazon right now. David, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.